Well, well, well.
Well, 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 well.
Don't one-up me or try to outdo me on these wells. Oh, my God.
Well, Brian.
Yeah, well.
Well.
Who's the
Excellent
aggressor
start.
now?
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is a horrible start to this episode, Brian. What are we doing?
I think it's great. You have turned the tables on me, Leighton, by you're doing what are those things you accuse me of doing? What are those?
Well, how the turntables. And now I've referenced The Office, which is maybe like the biggest podcasting crime I've committed of late. A night, which is the podcast that you're currently listening to.
Wow, that's pro.
I'm Leighton Gray,
level,
and that is
podcasting.
Brian Wecht. And it's only been like nearly 4 years of this show.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Yeah, I know. So hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode and the following episode of this podcast, which is our annual Christmas clip show.
Oh, my gosh. I personally, Leighton, I know you have a thing about this. I like to recognize all the winter holidays, not just Christmas. I think, and I know you disagree with me on this, I think it's okay to say happy holidays. I think it's okay to even say happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever. And I know I don't want to hear your thing about how nobody says Merry Christmas anymore. I don't want you to get into your whole like deal about this. But personally, and I'm only stating my own personal belief here, I think it's okay to say this is our holiday end of year best of.
You know, I'm really feeling the holiday spirit, Brian, because the moment we press record, I feel like you've pulled a gun on me.
Well, it's a t-shirt cannon full of festive holiday t-shirts that celebrate, and I know you have a thing about this, that celebrate all the holidays from the winter months. And it's not just ugly Christmas sweaters, right, or whatever. I don't even like to put the aesthetic judgment on it. It's a general t-shirt that celebrates all the fun winter holidays that make this time of year merry and bright.
Hey, all Christmas sweaters are beautiful.
I do agree with that, but I also want to include the other holidays there too, not just to keep going back to your thing, but you know there are other holidays in. What's the
allegation here that I'm constantly talking about the war on Christmas and taking the Christ out of Christmas? Like, I just want to be clear on what you're accusing me of here.
I don't think you're not taking the Christ out of Christmas. You're putting it back in. But and what you're trying to add is, and these are your own words, quote unquote, extra Jesus to Christmas.
It's sort of like something being extra legal, a little bit outside of the existing amount of Jesus. I think that, you know, it's not even historically accurate to his birthday question mark.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, no, definitely not his birthday.
All Sunday school knowledge has trickled out of the back of my skull and been replaced with like JPEGs of Matthew Lillard.
As discussed on the recent
Sorry, Jesus.
Email.
I'm on the recent email.
Sorry, I said that. Do you know why I said that? I was looking at an email. Oh my God. My brain is not.
Well, that's the perfect.
Po Buddy's nerfect. Am I right?
That's the perfect mode to be in for this holiday this holiday season that you and I both love so much. I think I love it a little bit more than you do, actually. You know, as you referred to the extra Jesus, I Christian is with a hard T. It's Christian. Just so you know, that's the proper way to do it.
Christian,
yes. Christmas. Christmas, because we need more. I can't even fucking commit to this.
I was just waiting for you. I was waiting as you dug your own grave there.
Waiting for me to fucking crack. I was going to go on about how much I just love everything about the holiday season, the sights, the smells, the songs. Oh, the songs, how I love the songs, and the wonderful, how you hear them every year and they're so familiar to you and you get to hear the same ones over and over. And then every couple of years you get new ones that it's the same songs, but sung worse. And I love, that's my favorite thing in the world.
I can tell. If there's one thing you're good at, Leighton, it's acting.
The t-shirt cannon hits me in the face once again.
The t-shirt. Do you know what? You know what I call the t-shirt cannon? Can you guess what I call the t-shirt cannon? Nick.
AK. I was gonna say an AK Shirty 7, but
oh, that's very actually. Did you just make that up? That's very good.
Yeah, I did.
I like that.
Well,
I like that a lot.
It's like my ability to do bits when I feel under attack really goes up. It's like a primal fight or flight.
Oh, well, this is
response.
an interesting strategic conundrum I find myself in now.
I never mind. I didn't say that.
Because
I'm not gaslighting you. You're just crazy.
You see, well, you're not wrong about either one. You see the situation I'm in now, which is if I want you to do bits, if I want the show to have any bits, it's got to be you that does them. And now if I want you to do more bits, I should really put you on the spot more so that you can do more bits. And the show can go from 0 bits.
I take it back. I'm like a zoo animal where I do my best performances when I am well fed and relaxed. You know, they don't like it when you tap on the glass. They don't perform well when you tap on the glass. It's like a fish in a tank. I'm a lot like a fish in a tank right now.
Or me sexually.
Okay, there are 2 separate 30 Rocks jokes that I wanted to make. That I think in the tradition of at least calling one of the clip shows So It's Come to This as a reference to the Simpsons clip shows. This one should be called Christmas Attack Zone as a reference to 30 Rock.
That's great. Except, don't we just call this Best of 2023?
Yeah, we
part
do.
1?
We do. But just, you know, I wanted to throw it out
Working
there. And
title.
Yeah, and then the whatever you said about you sexually just reminds me of the runner about Jenna saying, like, I'm going to take you apart and put you back together like Mickey Rourke did to me sexually.
Oh, right.
Like that whole runner culminating in the finale where she's like, I can't do this anymore. I've never met Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, great. Well, look, we come together at this time of year to celebrate ourselves and all the amazing things that we have done despite our best instincts. And we are nice enough to have some lovely, wonderful people who listen to the show and suggested their favorite moments. And what we're going to do is, in true late night fashion, we looked at the list. We compiled the list. We're not listening to any of them because who has that kind of time? But we are going to talk about them to the best of our recollection. So what you can
you're
do...
You're gonna give away the bit this early? I thought that we were going to talk about them with some level of authority and then just, you know, eventually be like, yeah, we haven't listened. Because folks, we can't sit here and listen to every wonderful clip because the show is so good and the clips that you're about to hear are so high quality that, you know...
We don't want our egos to be too big.
Oh, and you know, of all people in the world, I am at greatest risk of hitting that ego ceiling.
What is the thing?
My therapist is constantly praising me for just how, you know, my ego is so healthy and intact.
Know, if you want to strengthen your ego floor, you can do some ego exercises. Kabam. What is the thing I'm thinking of? Oh, it's Community. This is what I'm thinking where Jeff starts going into a thing where his ego he feels too good about himself, right? And his ego starts exploding. There's a really great Dean scene where the Dean's walking down the hallway and Jeff turns around and he has aviators, I believe is what makes him hot, extra hot. And the Dean starts to say something and then collapses on the ground. An amazing Jim Rash performance.
Yes, I know exactly because people use that as a GIF a lot.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see GIFs.
Remember the soup? Yeah. And when Joel McHale was the soup guy?
Oh, the show. I thought you were talking about an episode of Community where they ate soup.
I assumed that you assumed I was just talking about he just liked soup a lot. And that was his defining trait. It's just like the whole category of like the soup and Tosh.0 has just kind of been superseded by the entire internet, right?
Yes, indeed. Now that's people putting, you know, what do they call them? TikToks together?
TikTok is the source of culture. We can choose to deride it and ignore it, but that is much in the same way through the 2010s that we ignored the culture on campuses across the country, as well as like smaller forums and just been Twitter and dismissing them as irrelevant or, oh, that's not going to be important. All things come to the fore. TikTok, what happens on there is important. Maybe isn't the word, but it's some inchoate future.
Yeah, I do want to get back to
what the fuck am I talking about?
I don't know, but I do want to get back to the campus thing, because offline you were telling me that you feel like on college campuses, free speech is under attack from the what you called intolerant left. So
I didn't say
really
intolerant. I did not say intolerant. I said some other words that I'd thank you not to repeat. I can't decide if I'm going to completely defensively fight this or give into it. It remains to be seen.
And that's how I ended up married, through exactly that strategy. I'm just going to live in this moment.
Living in the moment where I'm waiting to say, please cut that.
That's our number one rule on this show. No cuts. No takebacks, no cuts.
No take-backsies.
No cutsies. That's right. Well, listen, in all seriousness, I do think it's okay to celebrate more holidays than just Christmas.
For the love of God.
This time of year, despite what my co-host, my esteemed co-host, might think. So, yes, what? Sorry, do you have something to say?
I thought I heard that as you saying...
We go now to the no spin zone, Leighton.
I thought you were saying my esteemed co-host, I think.
Oh, what a brutal dig.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I interpret everything as an attack on me personally, as I should.
Can you say it? I'm fascinated by the tone that implies air quotes. So can you say the word esteemed as if it was in air quotes?
And my esteemed co-host.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
And you're missing me physically doing the air quotes.
Have to. Yeah, you have to finger that sky.
And isn't that all we're really doing as human beings, sprawled upon the earth, looking onward, fingering the sky?
Fingering the sky, indeed. That's the title of my autobiography, which is appropriate given my line of work.
Fingering the sky?
Yeah, sky pleasuring.
Yeah, what else are chemtrails about, folks?
Oh, here we go.
Direct result of fingering the sky. That's how we get rid of chemtrails. We stop it. Stop that.
Stop it, indeed.
No peace signs, no middle fingers, no index fingers to indicate that you've been called next in line.
You can come after me personally, but if we start eliminating middle fingers, then I'm out of a job. So
well, yeah, that's the point. I'm trying to deplatform you.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yes. Well, sorry, I'm looking at our spreadsheet.
I like that theoretically a Christmas clip show could be used to introduce people to the show, and this is perhaps the most alienating start that we've had to an episode all year. Although I do feel like it captures a certain dynamic.
Like it. I'm having fun, which as far as I'm concerned is the only important part of doing this show.
I'm having fun.
There we go. Good air quotes. Give me something to say in air quotes, and I'll say it.
I've never gaslit you in my life.
That whole thing? I can't say a whole phrase in air quotes. That's not how air quotes work. It's like a word or two.
Say gaslight in air quotes. I've never gaslit you, you know?
Well, now you did it, and now I just be imitating you.
Well, then pick something else that you want to say in air quotes.
Okay, I will pick something else that I want to say in air quotes.
And they say that podcasting is an audio-only medium.
Let's go back. Let's do the charades thing we were doing. because I think that was so fun.
Did that actually wind up in an app? Please tell me that didn't wind up in an episode.
I think it was a mini. And so for those of you just tuning in,
no.
Let me just explain the bit.
I can't even entreat Jarek to cut away because he's not editing this one. Oh fuck!
That's right.
I'm stuck
it's
here.
All me, baby. Podcast charades was an idea, an explosive new idea I had for a game show, which is audio only charades. Actually, maybe that wasn't a full episode. Maybe it was one of our solos. I can't remember.
I distinctly remember getting like actually legitimately pissed off at you in a way that I don't usually. Since we're speaking
Over
about
that bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
That was
okay.
I don't
That
know why
rules.
that was. I think I told you that at the time. No, I think
assume
that
anytime anyone tells me they're mad at me, I assume they're kidding.
right. Well, in the early days of this show, I want to say like single digits. I remember distinctly. I had done some moderately hostile bit towards you, and afterwards you texted like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like you were genuine, and I
we
think
knew
you
each other as well. Yes.
Yes, and you did it a couple of times before I got genuinely mad because you kept asking. Yeah, so I think we've really come a long way where you're just making blatant false accusations towards me with impunity at the top of an episode.
Yeah. Well, it's how to say. I occasionally work with people who take things personally, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything in particular here, but until I reach a certain level of person that I know well, which we were not as close as we are now when we started the show,
No.
I genuinely get concerned that because of my the combination of my deadpan style of humor plus constantly, and I do mean constantly, trying to poke the bear and get some kind of annoyed reaction out of people, I do occasionally I walk a lonely path where sometimes people get mad at me for stupid reasons, and I have learned to actually I did this today I have learned to, if I do a bit and then think, oh wait, maybe that didn't land, to just gently reach out and say, hey, by the way, did you know that basically every time I say anything, it's I'm not being serious. And I think it took me a little bit with you, probably I don't know, a few months of doing this before I learned that yes, of course you can just fucking roll with anything.
I think that's the nicest compliment you've given me over the course of this show. I was about
not
to,
intended as one, but I appreciate that.
I was about to make fun of you, saying that you're like, oh, here's me, do. I'm just going for a walk in the forest with a giant cool open container of raw meats. Gee whiz, sure hope that no bears come up and try to take a bite out of me. Oh, I'm wiggling the steak around over the head of the sleeping bear. Oh no, it bit me. It wasn't real steak. Can somebody please call an ambulance? Because I was just kidding about these steaks that I brought specifically to upset the bear. Oh no, he's mauling me. Oh no.
Oh no, he's mauling me. That's the title of this episode.
I want that edit of Werner Herzog listening to the Grizzly Man audio tape and being like, no one should listen to this, but it's just not even fucking just
What I
I
was
think I
gonna say
really
was,
need to buy a lamp for my seasonal affective depression.
if it makes you this funny, don't.
What were you gonna say?
What I was going to say was this is the thing that today I had to check in with someone, like, was this okay? The graphic designer for Twerp reached out on a thread about the upcoming tour, which I'm a part of, which has been announced. Did you know about this? Did we talk about this?
I don't know.
am joining Twerp as Trey Magnifique on their 6-week tour.
Trey Magnifique?
Trey Magnifique. That's what I call the Trey Magnifique per persona.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you put that like French like glottal like on there? Because that was good.
The Trey Magnifique.
That was good.
That's what his pervy evil twin is Trey Magna Peak. Yeah.
Who's friends with the Crypt Peeper. Yeah.
But Torp's graphic designer on an email thread said, hey, everybody, I screwed some stuff up. Here's a new version of the tour poster. And I replied, I quit. And then I texted a few people and I said, I realized that there's someone I don't know on this thread. And I sure hope they understand that I'm doing a bit. As, by the way, I would, because I assume that I'm usually pretty good at reading bits.
You're the most fastidious email checker I think I've ever known. So that's especially funny to me.
Yeah, this one, well, actually, it's something I was talking about with my therapist. She's like, I think you, and I'm not even kidding about this. She was like, I think you need to send emails faster. Like, as in not proofread them so much. She's like, just let it go. Just write the email and let it go. And I was like,
undergoing a full werewolf transformation at the gentle suggestion of your therapist that you should maybe not spend an hour on an email.
Oh my God. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to read you an email. We will get into these best ofs.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, do you really, I'm talking to the fucking audience. Do you really want to hear clips of this show?
Yeah. Where was this? Let me find this because this is fun. Okay, so Jim Roach, producing the upcoming Under the Covers 4 album, writes a general just check-in email to me, Dan, and Torp. How are the songs coming, guys? Brian's coming to Nashville. This is like a week ago, and just want to see how if you're rehearsing them and how everything's sounding and blah blah blah. And I replied to this email. So far, I'm the only person. This is 9 days ago now. No one has responded to this email. Here's what I wrote. And you'll see why this is relevant to the most recent discussion. Hi, guys. So this is the first reply, and there are no subsequent replies. Hi, guys. I wanted to chime in here with some unfortunate news. Due to a recent procedure, which I can't get into because of ongoing legal proceedings, I am no longer able to find pants that fit. Yes, I have tried contacting tailors, both licensed and un, but I have been independently told by several professionals that in my current condition I am, quote, unpantsable. Their words, not mine. As a result, I am forced to travel with an unwieldy contraption, part cage and part curtain, that obscures the lower half of my body. Although I can change the curtain as needed, the metal frame inside is unalterable and sadly not compatible with sitting on a piano bench. I fear that this will make recording a bit difficult. I am hoping that, studio name omitted, as a full-service studio, we'll be able to use the attached blueprints to construct a winch that will lower me into position, but if not, we may have to postpone the recording until the medical issue in question has been resolved. Thanks for bearing with me on this. I know it isn't an ideal situation, and I honestly do appreciate your patience, despite WHST, which should have been what, but I made a typo. You may have seen on my socials. Best, Brian. So I bring this up because I was on a plane when I wrote this. I was like, this will be fun. I meticulously crafted this stupid joke. And I cannot get over that in the last, 7-8 words, I misspelled what as WHST.
That.
No acknowledgement from anybody that this email was ever sent or received. Nobody.
People in the know in the true crime community might notice a passing reference to the John Benet Ramsey ransom note. I believe that Brian was in fact channeling the organization invoked at the end of that ransom note.
Is that what the WHST? Is that what that is?
It was SBTC Victory.
Oh, I see. That's my bank.
I can't believe that nobody responded to that, because listening to you type that, I was already in, like, if I were on this thread, I would be chomping at the bit to get to that. It's like how in our group chat that, like, people pop in and out, that, not everybody has notifications on, they're not always checking, but every once in a while there is some bit that will happen in there that just summons everybody, like ringing a dinner bell.
Yes.
And everybody just they fall onto the bit foaming at the mouth. And I think that's a really special thing, and that's how I felt hearing you read that email, Brian, which I think is a really masterful work of comedy. Also, I agree with your therapist.
Look, I agree with my therapist about basically everything. Does that mean I'm going to do what she fucking says? Probably not. But,
yeah, that's how my therapist makes so much money, because he tells me to do stuff and then I don't do it.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of not doing
speaking
stuff,
of therapy.
let's get into some clips.
Hey,
Yeah.
my segue was relevant. My segue was germane to the bit.
Mine was too, and I'll thank you to not use germane because I don't know what it means.
He's the guy from Flight of the Conchords. Duh.
No, that's Brent.
That's Brett.
No, it's Brit.
Fuck.
It threw me off forever that in New
Brit.
Zealandese they pronounce it as Brit.
I love that. It's
And-
like my favorite part of the show.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. Let's
Speaking
listen.
of fucking
do you-
everything up,
Uh-huh.
I couldn't go with my therapy one anymore, and now I don't.
I want to get in some clips, but I have to pee. So I am going to go. Oh my god, my fucking brain right now.
I am to go.
I am to go pee. I am to poo. Give me 2 minutes, and I will be right back. Remember, anything you say, I will hear when I edit this episode. So just take that under advisement.
Sure, I won't say anything weird.
Yeah, great. All right. I'll be right back.
You know, we've been doing this show since early 2020, and I didn't know Brian very well, as we just discussed. And, you know, I was like, I only knew him, you know, as an acquaintance through Grumps. Like, you know, he'd always say hi, but I was always like really intimidated by him because he just kind of has that vibe. But over the years of doing this show, he and the rest of the Wex have become truly like family to me, and they're deeply special to me. And doing this show is such a pleasure because not only do I get to hang out with Brian all the time, I get to meet all sorts of new people who are interesting and funny, and I've made so many friends through the show. It's made me like more confident in social stuff. I know, shocking, you would never guess that. And you know, a bunch of really cool people listen to this show, and we get to hear from them. We have our awesome little Discord community. People give us money to get access to more of this, which is baffling, but kisses appreciated. And I'm just really grateful that people bother. Makes me really clap. So here's to another 10 years of the podcast. Great. Well, I was hoping he was going to walk in when I was being sentimental so I could, like, you know, flip to a fuck you. Because he's usually a really fast urinator. Brian, if you reveal that you've been sitting here for like 60 seconds, I'm going to lose my mind. Brian? All right. Well, he's really fucking up my timing on this one. All his fault. All your fault. You're listening to this, Brian. Anyway, I think we have a nice selection of clips that we're going to talk about. We've had a lot of good moments this year with friends, with new friends, we've had some really fucking cool guests. We've gotten some dream guests on this year. And they have all been very interesting, and I've enjoyed getting to talk to people. My tone completely changed, like I'm uninterested because I'm clicking around the spreadsheet that we put all of these bits into. I even made a little checkbox column. Do you know you could put checks in Google Sheets? I did, but I forgot that you could do that. And so I'm just sitting here checking and rechecking a box because it's very satisfying. You should try it sometime. It's like a fidget spinner, a fidget toy in your browser. I almost said bathroom. It's a fidget toy in your browser. We're both fucking deranged today. I'm normally like that, but there's something. Maybe it's just that the late night live show is tomorrow. Wink. That wink implies that it's like not or something, but I mean it is. We're recording this on the eve of Late Night's live 200th episode. and I'm going to give Brian his Christmas present. Shit, he's going to listen to this. We're not going to recreate the Imodium joke that you just made that was really funny, but everybody at home just knows.
Damn it. I was hoping you were going to try to do it, and then I could be like, what joke? And completely annihilate you with this bus that I'm driving. But I was legitimately planning to do that.
That's so fucked up.
It's called comedy? I don't know what to tell you.
I like how literal it sounded when you said, hit you with this bus I'm driving.
Yeah.
Like that sounded not metaphorical at all.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, fuck.
I have a Class B license, if that's the right one. Yeah, it is. B for bus. Of course it's right. All right, we're half an hour in. I
don't want to give you more work, but I can pull the sound of like a car driving into a building. And can you put that right after I say, oh, fuck? I'm going to write a note to do that.
All right, let's listen to some clips. Leighton, you're looking at this sheet with me here. What should we talk about first? I see one, a really good one here from episode 182. I think we should start with.
Be my guest.
Well, this is this was one of my favorite ones from the year. They're all my favorites. It's like picking your favorite child, right? As in, it's
you only
very
have
easy.
one of them.
Yeah, that's right. It's easy because I only have one. That I give affection to. The other ones have to fight for it. This was episode 182. We should pull episode titles. I'm just going to scroll through until I find it. Man, the level of no preparation to this is truly astonishing.
Well, look, kids, folks at home, my dumbass thought we were recording at 4, but actually we were recording at 3. So I capered over to my desk at 3 p.m. like, tra-la-la, I'm going to do the work that I could have done in the preceding like fucking 72 hours and grab all this other shit that we need. And then Brian was like, I'm running 10 minutes late, sorry. And I was like, fuck. And so that is the least interesting anecdote I could have shared.
Well, I liked it personally. I think you did great. But this episode is it's episode 182. Title: Urchins Run Miles to Chocolate Fire, with Bill Childs. And although I guess maybe we should save that for the end, like right before we come in. So I'll say it again. Let's pretend I didn't say it. I'm not going to cut it out, but let's pretend I didn't say it.
Pretend you didn't say what?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So what to say about this episode? Bill Childs rules. He is one of my favorite guests we have ever had on top of just being an awesome dude.
We text regularly.
And same.
And he listens to the show, pays for the Patreon. Thank you.
He does, and I will occasionally get texts from him where they're like, hey, I just heard you say this, whatever it is. And then it caused me to think about this, which is... honestly, he is the only friend I have that texts me about our show.
Wow.
That's one else.
That's so sweet.
Not my wife, not my sister.
Not your child.
Not my child. And the day Audrey starts listening to this show regularly is the day we hang it up, because I can't do that to myself, probably.
Agreed.
But but it is so nice that he actually listens to the show. But it was even better to have him on. And
he has tried so hard
stuff
to find that dinosaur album, and he is up to date with McCamey Manor stuff. He sends me cool legal shit. Like, dude, you rule. Let's listen to this awesome bit.
Well, we should billboard a little bit. We were looking at clips from old newspaper articles, because I had mentioned this Wikipedia page of non-water floods.
Yeah,
I believe. Which I believe
if we
saw
could
a recent update, right? I can't remember if this was this since the episode? It might have been like right after. List of non-water floods. There was a flood from September 2023. that was recently added to this list. So is this right? Since... Yes. Oh, my God. That's right. Since we put out this episode with Bill, another flood was added to this Wikipedia page for list of non-water floods, which is the Levira Distiller wine flood in Portugal. There was a wine flood. Yeah. So this makes, quote unquote, various juices not the most recent non-water flood from 2017.
Hell yeah, various juices, baby.
Yeah. So this is us and Bill Childs from 182, episode 182, Urchins Run Miles to Chocolate Fire. And the... What's this word? Column B on the sheet, Leighton, what does that say? What's the title of that column? I can't read it.
It's B as it's B as in boy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, we're looking at the same cell. I know it's B as in boy.
Yeah, I just clicked it. Just B. But can you spell that word for me, please?
B-O-Y. You know how boy is spelled?
Mm-hmm.
That's the boy column.
That's the boy column. Did you like that?
Brian, I think that's the funniest joke you've ever done.
Wait, now you have to tell people what it is.
Fuck you for forcing my hand by doing such a good bit. This was in the bit column. It wasn't the boy column. I was being obstinate. It was the bit column. We were both clicking like the digital comedy of Brian highlighting it after I kept saying boy. And it was bit, and he just added a CH at the end.
Bam.
And that is the funniest thing Brian Wecht has ever done.
Thank you very much. Probably will be. It's a comedy career highlight right there. This is a clip from episode 182 with Bill Childs. This reminded me of, Leighton, you mentioned a Wikipedia page listing these things. In case you guys don't know this page, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. This is not strictly relevant to what we're talking about, but vaguely so. Okay. So this link is going in the chat right now. This is one of my favorite Wikipedia pages. It is a list of...
the molasses flood is there. Yes.
Yeah, of course you have to have... This is a list of non-water floods.
Pepsi fruit juice flood. Oh, fascinating.
So, which is recent, right?
Yeah.
So it is a list of floods with, and by the way, fatalities in many of these, of liquids that are not water. And there aren't many. What is it? 2, 4, 6, 8 of these. Yeah. Now, I'm sure there may be others out there, but...
You have to pick which flood you're stuck in from this list based on composition of flood. Don't even think about fatality, just sheer vibes.
Well, read us the list first so we can all,
all right.
see it for those listeners who can't see this, which is everybody.
Okay, in London, 1814, beer. Dublin, 1875, whiskey. Boston, Massachusetts, 1919, molasses. Same year, 1919, but in New York City, molten chocolate and butter.
Delicious.
Then we
Molten chocolate.
Yes. Listen, I said don't think about fatality. Then we have 2008, Kingston, Tennessee, coal byproducts mixed with water. 2010, in Hungary, bauxite residue mixed with water.
Sure.
Mariana, Brazil, in 2015, tailings mixed with water.
I don't know what tailings is, and I'm not...
From mining.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then finally, we have April 2017 in Russia, the Pepsi fruit juice flood, and it just says various juices.
That various is doing a lot of work there.
I totally agree. And I mean, that's my pick, personally, various juices. If you asked Brian, do you want to be stuck in various juices? Of course I do. Well, mainly because I'd be curious what the variety is. So that's my personal pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say no to the coal byproducts, bauxite, and tailings.
That's right. Doesn't sound fun.
We can take those off the list right from the start. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would say whiskey, but like that's a lot of whiskey.
That's a lot of whiskey.
Get in your
that's
eye.
Right.
You don't need very much whiskey for it to be fun.
Yeah.
And molasses, it's going to be messy. I think it's various juices for me too.
I think it's molten chocolate and butter for me. Mm. That's a great combo.
It does sound delicious.
It's a winning combo that would kill me, but what a way to go.
Yeah, I lived in Boston for several years, and you heard a lot about the molasses flood. Like, that was a big part of the local lore was, like 100 years ago, a bunch of people died with a molasses flood. I believe it went through the North End.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it was the North End. There it is. And I lived and did comedy in the North End. And so that would be a frequent reference at my local comedy club, which was the Improv Asylum, where I was the music director.
I'm just starting to read the description of Leighton's choice, and I think I might be shifting over to that, to the chocolate.
To the Rockwood and Company shipping department fire.
Molten chocolate butter out on the neighboring streets where it blocked storm drains and caused a flood sufficient to float a rowboat for 2 blocks. I didn't know that was like the standard unit for flood measurements.
Okay, look at the subsection flood. Second paragraph, second line. There's a really great quote.
Read it.
A report in the Brooklyn Daily Eagle described, quote, an ocean of fudge, ... flooding the street, ... like lava.
I want to know what was in the ellipses, and
yes.
B, I assume Ween has written a song about this.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there wasn't a Ween album dedicated to this. Oh, I think the chocolate half of Chocolate and Cheese was actually...
That's fine. And then the police initially made no attempt to stop the children. It said that it attracted 1,001 local children keen to taste the mixture. But around an hour after their arrival, truant officers began collecting the children to take them through their schools. This is
the one. Yeah.
The greatest.
I gotta say, the Great Molasses Flood article is fabulous. There's a segment from an article for Smithsonian. Anthony DeStasio, walking homeward with his sisters from the Michelangelo School, was picked up by the wave and carried, tumbling on its crest, almost as though he were surfing. Then he grounded, and the molasses rolled him like a pebble as the wave diminished. He heard his mother call his name and couldn't answer. His throat was so clogged with the smothering goo.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the crazy part. Is you're like, oh, it's molasses. It's got to be slow. But then you're like, oh, wait, if it's coming at you, that's like heavy and viscous. You could imagine if like a wave of molasses hits you, you're in trouble.
The headline of the article I just put there is pretty amazing. Gutters run fudge, urchins run miles to chocolate fire.
This is good.
All-timer.
Opening paragraph. Hey, fellers. I know where there's a fine fire instead of water coming out. Good hot chocolate fudge is running all over the streets. You can lick it up. The cops are there, but they don't mind. They just grin. Come along. I hope this got the Pulitzer. My God.
What is this from?
Brooklyn Eagle from 1919.
Oh, scroll down, though.
And then a boy brings home a bomb.
Yeah, the next headline in this column is Boy Brings Home Bomb.
This feels like a Simpsons gag.
This is amazing.
Urchins run miles to chocolate fire.
There's something about, this like early 20th century and before journalism where you're like, did they just make that quote up, the hey fellers thing? It certainly doesn't sound like someone actually said that.
No.
And when they reached the scene, various exclamations of delight punctuated the air. Little fellows fell on their knees before the oncoming flood and dipped it up greedily with grimy fingers. Chocolate gorged truants, some with faraway looks in their eyes,
chocolate
were hauled off
truants?
to school.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is awesome.
When we're in Brooklyn, Brian, let's go find this place.
Yes. All right.
What a great bit.
Clip. Yeah. I call them clips.
Okay.
All right, and then here, it's talked about. We can click the thing on the sheet. Can you click that? Talked about? I'll click it, actually. Boom. Talked about.
Hey.
Was that you? Oh, you unclicked me.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, you bitch.
You son of a bit.
Yeah, I don't know what it is recently. I have been... I have to cut this out. I've been desperate to say on this podcast, and I can't do it. I think it would be so funny if I said it.
Whatever sound just came out of the back of my throat.
I've been thinking about it. I was like, man, that would be funny if I did that. And I want to be clear. The thing I bleeped out here is nothing actually bad.
No, it's not. It's a word I've said on the show, I believe.
Yeah. It's not like
it's just Brian is like weird and prim about it.
Yeah. Weird and and I have to cut that out too. Fuck. Why am I so funny? That's the problem. I don't know how to deal with myself.
We need to put you in a cage and lock it and bury the key in a field.
Yeah. Well, Actually, you know what? I'm looking here. We have a couple 182s. Should we run these others with Bill while we got him?
While we argue about
What I can and can't say.
what
Leighton,
you can and can't say on this show, we'll roll some more Bill clips.
Yeah, Leighton, you described yourself once as, what was it, a free speech absolutist.
Okay, please roll the clip.
So Action Park was unlike any other amusement park, almost to the point where I would call it not an amusement park. Leighton, I don't think you're old enough to have been, but you know about it clearly.
No, I know a good bit about it. Brian, am I making it up that you went to Action Park?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I grew up in North Jersey.
Yeah.
It was a known thing. I remember going once, and I was little. I was probably under 10. I was definitely under 10. And I remember the terrifying wave pool. And that's the extent
So
of what
many people drowned.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a known thing. Where I lived, it was a little far away, so it wasn't like just go down the road. It was like you would make a trip to go there, but it was like a destination that wasn't too far away that you would go to during the summer, and everyone knew it was like not safe. This was even as you were little, like it was very fun, but that was part of the appeal. Was like anything can happen. It was very much a product of its time. I mean, it was an anomaly even for the 70s and 80s. But yeah, I went at least once, probably only once as a kid. But definitely had friends nearby who would go quite regularly.
Yeah, and the thing that made it different and made it potentially dangerous was how much control you had over your experience, right?
That's right.
Like a wave pool isn't inherent. I mean, it is inherently dangerous, but it isn't inherently more dangerous there than elsewhere, except that they ran it with fewer breaks and without any limits on how many people could be in there. Well,
Right.
You can avoid anything that bad happening to you by not getting in it, right? Or staying in the shallow end. Or the alpine slides, like most modern alpine slides will have speed governors on them. They didn't. So, whatever. You can go as fast as you want. You might fly out and hit your head. And so a bunch of that sort of thing where you had a lot of control over it, which makes it a really fun entry point to talk about as a law school class, to talk about sort of how much responsibility you want to have there. But one of the things that I think is that Andy actually talks about in his book pretty well is when you go to, let's say, Six Flags Great Adventure, also in New Jersey, right? When you go there, or any normal amusement park, you're going there for the perception of danger without actual danger, right? Like you sort of think, well, I'm in this bubble. Nothing bad can happen to me here. And that's mostly true at amusement parks. Like you get into a roller coaster, they strap you in. You're going to be there when you come back. Almost, we can talk about some situations where that doesn't happen, but it's unusual, right? As long as the lap bar is on correctly, there's almost nothing you can do that's going to result in you being seriously injured. Right. Action Park, it's the opposite. But I think a lot of people going into a place like that are thinking, this is an amusement park. This is like going to Six Flags, and there's nothing I can do that can seriously increase my risk.
That's right.
And they're wrong.
Well, and a lot of the parents sending their kids there were thinking the same thing, of course. Yeah. I mean, if you're a little kid, then you wouldn't go without your parents. But if you're, 13 or something, drop the kid off at the park. Yeah, it's going to be fine. It's, these things are controlled.
Well, and then they also had just an enormous overlay of alcohol, much more so than again, Six Flags or anything like that.
Right.
A friend of mine, Mike O'Shea, who's a filmmaker, he went there a number of times, but he only really remembers the one time. And you're talking about 13-year-olds. He thinks he was 12 or 13. And a bunch of the metalheads at his school rented a bus. And everybody on the bus, including him, got what he called legless drunk on the way there. So he's clearly a child and clearly legless drunk. And he's like, is this going to be a problem? It seems like this should be a problem. And he went in and like, no problem. Like the park had no issue with any of this.
No, because the teenagers running the park were also drunk.
Quite possibly drunk.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I mean, again, the book talks about that a lot. So, and as does the movie.
I think maybe the most horrifying detail to me is I can't do water slides. They terrify me. The cannonball slide with the loop, just the fact that people would come down with cuts on them from people's teeth that got stuck in the slide is nightmarish.
Yes. Yeah, that's how he opens the book, and it is a fantastic tale. And it never really operated very much because it mostly was just maiming people, which even for Action Park is sort of not a draw. I mean, Brian, you pointed out that the stories about it were certainly an advertisement too, right? To some extent.
100%. it was a place where you could give kids autonomy, right? Which is what every child wants to some extent. And so they'd be like, you never believe what I did and what I saw there. And it was like, oh my God, we gotta do that. That's incredible. Wait, the waves were how big? You swung, how far on the rope? It's exactly that feeling of like, I'm in control of my own thing.
Yeah.
I never said it. I never said that I was a free speech absolutist.
100%
What
did.
I said is that I think everybody should be free to speak about how.
No. I could not.
Don't misinterpret.
Don't disagree more.
Don't fucking misinterpret me. I'm so sick of you doing this to me on this show. I try to express my opinion.
Look. You posted on Parler that you were a free speech absolutist, and
Well, how would you know that if you weren't on Parler with your account,
okay?
Brian, with the shit that you say on Parler?
Up.
You can't just lurk. You have to make an account.
Well, look who knows how Parler works. Oh shit. Trap set and sprung. Boom. To quote my hero, Ronald Reagan. Boom, bitch. Man, I gotta stop calling you a bitch. I really pulled the trigger on that a lot this episode because I typed in that column and then we.
It emboldened you.
Here.
It was the ancient curse that unleashed it.
This might be the best episode we've ever done.
I agree. I don't know why. I was like, oh boy,
really funny.
A low effort clip show that we're just hiding a better episode in.
We should. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm looking forward to our live show.
This could be like 3 episodes. Why not? Let's just fucking milk it.
I love milking things. It's the act of tugging, in particular. There's something. I'll be honest with people. I just got some not great personal news. Nothing. Don't worry about it. And I'm feeling a little punchy right now.
Punchy is the exact word for it, and I think.
Yeah.
I can think of other episodes where like one or both of us have like had a real life thing going on, and this is exactly how the episode sounds. And I'm also I ain't having a great time either. Not to speak to your stuff at all. My shit, it's my typical shit. So yeah, we're both.
Yeah, you just call that Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's hear from our esteemed guest.
Which one are you going for here?
Oh no.
Yeah, I could feel you reading.
I know.
We're not doing video right now, everybody. I could feel Leighton reading the spreadsheet,
hoping something would come because I didn't write the guests for these episodes until the end, so it wasn't like I could just pick one out. It's like vague descriptions like clap sync probs or cold pancreatic open.
Well, are we doing? There's a bunch of things here related to a pop culture segment that we do sometimes. I feel like I don't want to get there quite yet.
I think we climax with that.
Here's the next one I want to talk about. Our wonderful friend Kevin Perjurer, who has been on the show twice and is I think one of the best there is in the YouTube long form essay business, as well as just I think the guy's so fucking funny. Like, yes. I love everything about him. I'm such a fan of what he does, and he's always fun to have on the show. We had him back on for a second time this year, and he told a story where, let's just say we were on the same wavelength for this one. Do you remember this bit of the show, by which I mean clip, at all?
It's interesting that you say wavelength, Brian. Considering the topic at hand. I don't remember the particulars of the bit. I just remember it being funnier, but the even funnier thing is how he like completely lost confidence in the bit that he was doing.
Yes.
While we both found it incredibly funny and had to like reassure him that it was funny.
Was that this same one?
I think so. It was at least in that episode. I think
it was definitely in that episode. I thought it was later on, but maybe not.
Yeah.
These are the pitfalls of not listening to the thing before we record the show.
I was thinking about his first appearance where he talks about how he thinks breast cancer is good, actually, today, like out of nowhere. I think that's one of my favorite moments of the show.
Yeah.
If you have not heard that first episode that he comes on and talks about that, it's a good one. It's a very good one.
That's an old Andy Breckman tweet, which is, hey, everybody, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Trust me, I am aware of breast cancer.
Here's the clip.
Oh, you know what I love is
Tell me.
so Disney ships. If you own a Disney ship, there's only 5. There's going to be 6. But if you own a Disney ship, what are they going to do in the theater? You know what they're going to do. It's going to be a musical. They're going to do Frozen, or they're going to do a cabaret with a bunch of Disney songs. But you think, well, what are they going to do on the Princess Cruise Line or Norwegian? And when it's not a magician, when it's actually one of their stage shows with their performers, that is not a circus show. It usually is a cabaret, but just a clientele demographic reason, it is almost always the worst 80s music in the world. And so it's either they'll just do Rock of Ages and have some dignity to it, where at least there's a story and you know what Rock of Ages is, or they'll do Ages of Rock, which is not Rock of Ages. But I didn't even watch this whole thing, and I'm sure the performers are wonderful, and I'm sure whoever created the show is a genius, but whatever. I walked in, exited before the show even started, but I was there long enough to hear the pre-Ages of Rock music loop that they're playing as people are sitting. And I love 80s music. 80s music is my favorite decade. I love New Wave. I know you also love 80s music. So I love that stuff. But this is, I don't know. It's like the fat that rises to the top of the 80s. That's just like, oh, it's so bad. And I don't even know what the songs would be. I mean, it's just Guitar Hero, dad rock.
Oh, can I tell you what the ultimate example of this is for me? Just a bad song is Panama by Van Halen.
Oh my God, I was thinking about Panama.
It sucks. It's so bad.
How does Panama go?
So the main hook is Panama.
That's Panama, the exact song that would not stop playing. It is insane that you nailed it, because it was like
so bad.
Because I was going to say Cannonball, because I didn't know the name of the song, and because I was there going Cannonball.
Yep.
It is high school football Friday night kickoff songs,
and it's the worst. Sit down and listen to that song. It has no motion to it. And it's like a Van Halen classic. Like, look, we'll stipulate that Eddie Van Halen is an amazing guitarist, right? An incredible musician. I don't know who wrote that song specifically. It just goes nowhere and it's boring.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing that we're thinking the same thing.
And I wasn't thinking it. I was there, and that was the song they were playing. It was that exact song. And it was wild because this is happening in this theater, and the show hasn't even started yet. Remember, I'm dipping before the show starts. Yeah. And so I'm just there for the music loop, essentially, for no reason. And there's, Panama. And then the next one is, I wanna rock and roll all night. And the weirdest thing is, I also went to Vegas recently and had a similar experience where it was a very 80s dad rock heavy Vegas. And I would like to point out that 80s mom rock traditionally is way better.
Yes. Wow. What a clip.
Amazing.
I do hate that song.
Yeah. I think a lot of songs are not good. Name one. It's a track from this album called Mature Situations. It's just like really terrible guy.
Bad guy.
Trey Magnificent or something. I don't know. It's like Santa Monica. I mean, who names the song?
Your complete lack of commitment to this bit.
Because I did the funnier one, and people don't get to hear the funnier one. So,
nope. If you think this show is funny, you should hear what we're like when we're not recording.
Isn't that a great pitch for a show? Yep. We become like 10 times less funnier when there is a mic on
That's
us.
Comedy. That is comedy in 2023. And you know what, Layden? I do agree with you in this thing you say constantly, that you can't say anything anymore. And freedoms are under attack.
Yeah, and you know what? This generation has killed comedy because all they do is complain about how they can't say anything anymore.
There's a really, actually, you should listen to this past week on the Best Show. They had Cliff Nesteroff on for a long interview. He has a new book, which is basically a book-length refutation of the claim you can't say anything anymore. Oh. And it is just this interview alone is incredible. And he basically, I haven't read the book, so I don't really know, but my understanding is that he kind of goes decade by decade and shows people saying you can't say anything anymore for the last whatever it is 100 years, but also he had this amazing example, which he was like, look, he talks about this on the show, on the best show. He's like, in 2004, Janet Jackson's bra or whatever popped off. You could see her nipple. First of all, nice. But also, people lost their fucking minds, right?
That's why YouTube happened.
Yes. In 2023, there was a recent show, which was not that popular, in which I don't know exactly what happened, but I believe Pete Davidson, this show is Bupkis, Pete Davidson is jerking off, and then his mom walks in, and his load lands on his brother or something, and nobody has mentioned it. So anyone who says you can't say anything anymore, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think more accurately, it's not you can't come anywhere anymore.
Yeah, no, that's actually not true, because trust me, you just got to be discreet about it. It's a little something called aiming. Like, you don't get to be 48 years old without being good at aiming. That's how I had a kid. It's called a fucking bullseye, okay?
I'm imagining you at a fucking shooting range.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the shooting range is what I call the sperm bank.
Nice. Oh, I do like that. I like that a lot. If you had to name a sperm bank, title it, what would you call it? There's an old Letterman bit where it calls it Jack in the Box. But
wait, I got it.
Yeah, please.
Need for seed.
Oh, that's very, very, very good. What would I call it? I think, Applebee's. Best episode we've ever done. I think this may be, this is a good one.
It's like we have no plan for anything on this podcast ever, and then we have the loosest plan possible, and we can't even do the fucking plan. What have we played, 2 clips?
We're doing it. No, 3, maybe 4, 3.
What were we introducing a clip?
No. We were just talking about you started talking about coming. And then we got into this whole thing. Okay, look, I want to get, this is a good time for this one.
Oh?
I think it might be the longest clip we played today. Our wonderful friends, Paul Gannon and Eli Silverman, the Cheap Show lads, were in Los Angeles earlier this fall, just a couple months ago. And I went to Disney with them. And it was a lovely day. Turns out the secret to having a good time at Disneyland is to not have children anywhere near you. And Paul did not have a lovely day. And, there are many versions of Paul Gannon I like. Actually, every version of Paul Gannon I like. But Paul Gannon as the target for undeserved abuse is definitely the funniest. And I have to say, watching this story happen in real time and then hearing his version of it later, the next day or whatever it was, really, it was the icing on the cake. It was so great. This is absolutely all time, one of my favorite moments of Late at Night. This is from, what episode was it? We didn't look it up.
I literally just wrote Late at Night Does Cheap Show, which...
Yes, it's episode 193, our only crossover episode. Late at Night Does Cheap Show, and here it is.
A wonderful, lovely gentleman.
Awesome. He was so great.
A mensch.
And yesterday, the three of us went to a little place called Disneyland.
The happiest place on earth, allegedly.
Indeed.
I
Now,
want to hear all about it.
so there were some pretty generic Disneyland experiences, rides, food, etc., etc. But what I really wanted to hear your take on, Paul, was you had some, shall we call it, a string of incidents at Disney. So please enlighten us, because I think this is really funny stuff.
So we got there, right? And we were doing the security thing, and I had a stick with me for my camera, and apparently the stick was too long.
A common problem for Paul.
A common problem that I'm often turned away from venues at because I have a big stick.
Mostly pants fittings.
I'm wondering if that affects blind people, because they have the biggest of sticks. Are they
Well,
turned
do,
away?
but I don't think they're taking selfies with them constantly.
They might.
They might.
Anyway, so the guy goes, you got to take your little stick back. So I ran back. I went to
car?
run back to the car. And because I didn't really know where I was going because of the levels of security, I ran to this guy to say, how do I get out? And then this huge bruiser of a security guard grabs me, turns me around, and in my face goes, you talk to me! Just shouted at me. And I'm like, I just want to leave the park, please, and put my stick back. Shook me because he was this huge threatening dude. Came back, job done, right? And I thought, oh,
No, I think you've left out the detail.
of what?
You were holding a gun.
Oh, well, that wasn't loaded.
Yeah,
The other staff member who went, oh,
That's right,
just
yeah.
ignore him.
So the other guy who I had gone towards in the first place kind of just waved me through and went sorry about him as if to say, this guy isn't 24-hour dickhead.
Yeah.
And so I took it to the car and we all came back and it shook me, to be honest, because it's the happiest place on earth. I don't want
Indeed
my
it
first
is.
memory of it to be tarnished by a threateningly large
And you,
man.
to be fair, you've been plenty of times in the past. It's
Yes,
not your
plenty of times.
first memory. You're a big Disney person. You know a lot about it.
I'm one of those horrible Disney adults you hear so much about. My
Indeed
mum,
you are.
for years, impressed upon me that if I didn't get a job at Disney World, I would be a failure of a son.
Oh.
And
Little did she know.
Well, there were 4 kids in our family. I'm the oldest. Then I have a brother and a sister. Then my youngest. My youngest was the one she finally press ganged into working at Florida Disney. So she
see.
finally got what she wanted.
That's great.
So we're in the park. I'm having a lovely time.
I was going to say a son.
Nicely done.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
That one
don't
really
know
got Brian.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Anyway.
So we get into the park. It's kind of put me in a bad mood, an awkward mood already.
The vibe is off.
Eli and I were talking him back up. Like, it's okay. We're moving past it. Think of all the great stuff that's
We're
to
going to have
come.
a lovely time.
Yes, we are.
And then we went on to the rise of the Resistance ride, the Star Wars one.
Repistance.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
And
Yes.
then I started getting like Vietnam flashbacks kind of things. Because there's all these guys in suits shouting at me to move around. And, you go over there now. You go stand against the wall. Blue zone, blue zone. I actually can't deal with this right now. I'm having a genuine moment.
We should explain that ride has a very immersive pre-show,
Yeah.
which involves
Being treated like spies.
it's
for the Rebel
militaristic,
Alliance.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit, please, people stop shouting at me at the park. And then what was the other incident? Because
There
there
were,
was
there,
another
were,
one.
there were 4 total.
I remember
right?
the third one.
Was it the lady? That was the second one. What was the other one?
When we ordered the food, the skewers, very good.
God.
Yes, right.
So one of the things we didn't mention in the cheap show half of this episode was the apps fucking taking over every single thing you do in life.
Yeah.
You can't take a shit unless you book in advance with an app these days. So
Shitter. SHITTR.
With a period at the
That's
end.
exactly right.
yeah,
Yes.
no E, just a shitter. It would be just like that.
That's what I call Twitter right now.
Ooh, sick burn.
Always edgy little edgelord.
Come for me, Elon.
Come on, Elon.
That's right. They're about to leave the country, but you know where I live.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're waiting for this app to tell us to come and get the food that we'd ordered, right? And I go to the place where I'm waiting for the food. And I know to stay out of the way. So I lean against the post as I
Polite
wait for the
British
app.
gentleman. He knows how to be in a
I
crowd.
know how to queue. I know how to wait and be passive aggressive to people. So I'm sitting there leaning against the pole. And then this guy steps up to me, touches me on the shoulder and goes, buddy, you're in my way. There's a queue here. Okay, I'm just standing here. And I genuinely, I'm a 45-year-old man. The tears were beginning to come. Because at this point, we're 2 hours into the venue, and I'm getting people shouting at me at all angles. And I was like, I got an app. I'm not in the way. And he barges through and gets it. And then as he's walking away, he gives me a shitty fucking look. And you saw me. I came back with the food shaking like it was my first day working there. So that happens. That happens. And then a few hours roll by. We pop out of the park, don't we?
Yes.
To go to
Downtown Disney.
downtown
It's
Disney.
not for any particular purpose. I like to hang out there. It's a cool, chill, fun
It's a cool,
time.
chill place.
Yes. I like to go to the Earl of Sandwich restaurant, which makes my favorite sandwiches.
So I have a pin badge obsession. So I love collecting pin badges. You've seen my wall of pin badges.
I've seen your wall of
It's
pin
a
badges.
danger to my health. So I get a few pins and I wait in line. In front of me, there is a mother with 2 very young children, and the 2 children are having massive mental breakdowns, or certainly having a hissy fit.
It's like 10 o'clock. Or
Yeah.
not 9.
No,
9 it's like 9 o'clock. Right.
And she looks frazzled.
She brought 2 kids to Disneyland.
Right.
Yeah.
That's on her, as far as I'm concerned.
That's people's number one mistake is bringing children to Disney.
People's
Yeah.
number one mistake is having children.
Yeah, okay.
That's where they go wrong. That's what we need as a
Preach,
society.
brother. Yeah.
Right? Enough of it.
Yeah.
We've had enough of children. So I'm standing behind her and her kids are throwing the toys down that they're waiting to buy on the floor and she's picking them up and the kids are screaming and putting them down. And there's not much space between me and her and then the guy behind me who's almost inside me because he's so close. And at some point, after the kid drops the toy for the 20th time, she turns to me and goes, I'm going to need you to step back. And at this point, I have nowhere to go because the kids have been pushing the pram towards me and I'm sandwiched between 2 of the most angry fucking people in the park, apparently, at this point. Because this guy's now muttering, grumble, grumble, fucking get out my way, buddy, grumble, grumble. That's how I say all American accents sound like. So then I buy the thing. And I'm thinking, I can't deal with any more of this. We go on a lovely ride. We do the Mickey thing. We do Star Tours to end the day on a Star Wars note. We began with Star Wars, ended with Star Wars.
Now, if I may, you're leaving out one thing.
I probably am. Go on.
So I ordered a corn dog earlier in the day.
Oh my God! That prick!
And I was explaining to Eli how much I enjoyed my corn dog. And you said,
I've never had a corn dog.
right, welcome to fucking America.
Yeah.
So we make it a mission to go get a corn dog from I believe it's called the Little Red Wagon at the end of Main Street, USA.
Another fucking
which
thing you have to use an app for just to get a corn
You
dog.
shouldn't need an app for a corn
I
dog.
couldn't
mean,
agree more, yet this is the world we live in.
This is the world we live in.
So we order the corn dog on the app, and we're waiting for the corn dog to be ready.
And I'm a little bit salty at this point. I think my emotions have been toyed with.
You've been yelled
by
at.
strangers.
You've been
Several
yelled at and
times.
touched. That's what's really standing out to me.
At
Yes.
Disneyland, the happiest place on earth.
Yes, indeed.
And
We have nowhere better to be. We're sitting next to the trash can. We're sort of leaning on them.
when a gentleman who works at the park walks up to me and
Can I remember exactly what he said.
I would like you to say
okay.
this. Go on. So I'm just leaning on the bin. And I think my face is a little bit dejected at this point, if I'm being fair.
He walks up. He pauses.
He pauses in circles, is what he does.
The circling
he
I
comes
did
round.
like.
He comes round like he's considering it.
Because I tell you what,
he
if I'm
thought.
if I'm being honest, my ego kicked in a little bit because I thought, all right, for maybe he's a Chief Show fan. A couple of people have bumped into Brian and goes, oh, Ninja Sex Party, Brian. So I thought, oh, maybe this is my time.
They were
to
much
get a bit
nicer
of,
than that,
Is
to be
that
fair.
Paul from Cheap Shot? I thought, what are the odds? But let's see, right?
Yeah.
And so he circles, and then he sort of
Like a fucking shark.
yeah, a bit like a shark.
Yes. He says, can I ask you a question? Have you seen The Office?
And of course, because everyone's seen The Office, I say, yes, I've seen The fucking
And
Office.
okay, so 2 things have gone through our minds at this point. The first thing, which is now past, is I thought this guy was gonna be like, you can't lean on those garbage cans.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
and that's fine.
because it's a way. It's a way of offering yourself some succor.
It became my rock that bin for a few moments.
Of course.
So I thought he was going to kick us off. He didn't do that. Then he says, have you seen The Office? And I think, oh, he heard us speaking or you guys talking.
Yeah.
He's going to say something about your accent
Your
or
accent
something
or
like that.
Maybe
And then-
you look like Ricky Gervais or Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Hopefully not Mackenzie Crook.
And he says, have you ever seen The Office? Paul says,
Yes.
and he goes, has anyone told you look exactly like Toby Flanderson?
And so if anyone doesn't know, Toby in the show is the one everyone in the fucking office hates. And he's permanently
He's the
miserable
the
and
sad
depressed.
sack.
A face
Yes.
like what my mum would say, like thunder, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm now sitting there going, great, a complete fucking stranger's just compared me to one of the most hated characters in sitcom history.
And of course, because Eli and I sense an opportunity, I immediately go, oh my God, you're so right.
I don't look like Toby from the fucking office.
And Eli and I then start backing this guy and say, yeah, actually, we can totally see it.
Yeah, I
It's a
pull up
Paul
an image
Lie-
on my phone, and I'm like,
Paul
yeah.
Lieberstein.
And at this point, any kind of sense of worth and self-respect I had was pouring out of my arsehole like tap water. I was miserable. And he's going, oh my God, you just look so
He
much
was
like
loving
him.
it. This guy was loving it. 'Cause then he says, I can't. I'm having so much fun. I have to get back to my boat, he says. What boat this
What
was?
fucking boat? Is it the boat you sailed in on to be a prick?
Yes, I think it was the Jungle Cruise. You look like a Jungle Cruise
Yeah,
skipper.
well,
That's right. It was a khaki uniform.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with that, and now I'm miserable because a complete strangers compared my face to that of a face of a man who, fair play, is a very talented writer.
Oh,
and
he's
star of
funny.
That show,
He's funny as hell. I
but
love
he's
that character.
got a face like an unmade bed.
Yes.
Like a kicked ass.
Yes. Like a smacked bottom.
Smack bottom.
And I'm in a real
Yeah.
mood. And we're gathering all my energy to the last Star Tours ride. As we're coming out of the ride, as I'm walking to Brian with a smile on my face, like, what a lovely end to the day.
just about to leave
this
the
has
park.
been. Two teenagers walk up to me and go, come on then, like that. And I go, because it took me by surprise. And they run off giggling. And I was just, I have to get out of this fucking park. I have to get out of Disneyland.
No, what happened is you were like, no, that's it. You
Well,
considered it
no.
for a moment, and you were like, no, I'm going to go.
I'm
going to
having
go
them.
kill them.
And I went to turn around and chase them down. I went full Michael Myers, just marching slowly down.
Well, and then you came up to me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I hope they had a great time on Star Tours. And you passed me, you go, I got to get out of here.
yeah, I have to get out of here.
How much did you pay those teenagers?
Well, I signed headshots, of course. Like, it turns out people do anything for a signed
So that was my
headshot.
day in Disneyland. Now, don't get me wrong, there were hours and hours of joy around those moments, but I can't help but let the misery of those moments linger.
There's something about you, Paul.
No, here we go. I don't need this fucking shit from you right
We've had
now,
lots
either.
of incidents where people are rude to you. I don't know what it is.
And flatulent around me
That's
as
what
well.
I was going to say, yeah.
We're recording
People
an
love to
Oh,
just
dude,
let off.
break wind near me as if
Do
I can
tell.
absorb it.
People love to fart near him. I don't know any other way of putting
mean-
it.
I'm like some human fucking fart Tampax where I'll just absorb.
Oh, mate.
You absorb
What?
the
Okay.
brown
I
gristles.
would have gone with Fart Magnet personally, but I like Fart Tampax.
What were you wearing to Disney?
His usual kick me, I'm with stupid shirt, like.
I'm a sad wank shaft
Yeah.
fucking logo. No, nothing. Just a white shirt.
It was one of-
t-shirt, nothing fancy.
It was a big American flag that it said, freedom ain't free. In this house, we believe that.
yeah. No, nothing.
like-
I was wearing nothing that I thought drew attention. I was wearing nothing wacky.
Yep.
Okay. Were you wearing your glasses?
He looked
No.
like a
What's wrong with
100%.
me wearing my glasses now?
No, nothing.
I would
you
say
starting.
I will say, in Paul's defense, there
I
was
didn't kill anyone.
there was nothing. I mean, you're Disney. People are wearing all sorts of stupid fucking Disney stuff.
yeah.
Like
I'm not
his-
trying to victim blame Paul
No,
at
no, no,
all,
no.
but just
Kinda
like
sounds like it.
nothing-
That's the
but
problem.
just like
Paul
take off
looked-
your glasses
Paul
for
looked
a second.
essentially like he looks right now, like
Okay.
wearing this
How
sort
dare
of
you
thing.
come and say, what was it you did to bring that on? How dare you?
Take off your glasses. Here,
Yeah.
really take off your glasses.
No,
Like,
actually, no. This is my defense from other people's judgment right now.
I'll put mine on.
I like my glasses.
Both of you, lovely.
Yes, I agree. You both
These are
have
the
very
first
nice glasses.
Pair
Yeah.
of glasses
Thanks.
I've ever worn.
I've never seen your face without glasses.
Oh, it's because I'm getting older now. Now I can't read anything without these
Oh.
on. And they're the first pair I've ever worn that don't make me look like a sex offender, which is, it's serious. I've got so many ranges of nice glasses. In fact, when I lived in LA,
In my house, we just call them offenders.
yeah, well, Christ. So I was given a pair when I lived in LA 20 years ago by this guy who was like, these are made of gold. And then they were gold rimmed glasses.
Yeah.
And he goes, you must wear them. And I put them on and I looked like a pedophile's take on Harry Potter. And it was just fucking awful. And I've never worn them ever since. And I can't even sell them because they're not stamped. And if gold isn't stamped,
Well-
it's almost worthless.
Look, I hate to distract from this lovely story of sex crimes.
I need to calm down. I'm quite wound
but-
up.
You
Like,
are. I think you'll calm down more
So-
if you take off your glasses.
Because this is part 2, I
No,
would
back me up.
agree with this. No, I think you should take off your glasses.
you really do look like Toby from the office.
We agreed. No,
knockout. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. That's your contract. I didn't sign that contract.
To be fair,
It's a
to
verbal contract, Brian, and they're just as valid.
be fair to the boat guy, I mean, I
No, I don't want to hear you fucking defend the boat guy.
me and Brian both agreed. It's not that your face looks like him. You have similar colouring.
I
in
think
the
that's
hair and the
it.
skin.
It's like middle-aged white guy with similar color
Great, lovely. No, I have
you
generic.
strawberry blonde, tufty strawberry blonde.
Well, I
and a
will say
broken
this.
spirit.
What a great clip.
What a great clip. So funny.
Thank you for joining me in trying to get Paul to take off his glasses. I think you knew exactly what I was going to do the moment he did that. Very satisfying. He really makes it easy to poke at him.
He really does, and he's so funny, and he does it so well. Like watching his face go from a smile to completely falling is, you know, I've known Paul for a long time now. We've been friends for more than 10 years, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And he is just one of the people in my life I find the most consistently delightful. So, yeah. It's great.
Great clip. Good clip.
Great clip. Leighton, you pick the next one. I feel like I've driven here for a little bit.
You have driven here for a little bit. I would say that, what is that? What am I hearing? Gee whiz, I hope it's my downstairs neighbor and not rats in the wall. I hope that was my neighbor. We had some dream. I'll take that again.
I'm keeping that in, of course.
Just how resigned that was of realizing I don't have the energy. No, I'm going to put on the energy. No, that sounds terrible.
One of my great joys in life, Leighton, is listening to you give up on yourself.
Oh, then you living a happy life. All right. We had some dream guests come on the show this year, which was very exciting. And I would say, I think from the beginning of the show, when we first made the spreadsheet of dream guests, this person was maybe number one on my list because I listened to very few podcasts very intermittently. And I don't, I'll fall off of them for a while, but there's one that's carried me through many years, and that's been Doughboys. And so Nick Weiger was a number one get for me. And I, before I even started listening to Doughboys, knew that he was a fan of Dream Daddy, and as you may recall, obstinately refused to listen to their minisode that they did about Dream Daddy, in which Nick is nothing but completely positive. Anyway, we asked him to come on the show, and he said yes. So here's some shit from that one. Thank you, Nick. We love you.
Couple different ones. I am surprised, honestly, more parents don't have blackout curtains. Like, that's like a must-have for any kid room.
Right.
You know, I have an 8-year-old, almost 9, but it's actually in between now and when this episode comes out. That is to say, in the next week, she will flip over into a 9-year-old. But like when you have a baby,
just the way you said that sounded suspicious. How old is your kid?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Look, we're hoping she turns 9 is really what I should say. Like, more accurately, if everything goes right this week, we'll have a 9-year-old on Saturday.
Her name is Sasha.
Yeah, right. But like for any kid room, like you gotta fucking have blackout curtains because otherwise, the light comes in. It's terrible. I don't understand why everybody doesn't have them because they're not super expensive. You just get a heavy piece of fabric, and it makes a huge difference.
I like it. You want to gaslight your wife about the temperature. You want to adjust your child's circadian rhythm with blackout curtains, which is advanced photosensitive gaslighting.
That's right. And I'm praying she stays alive for another 4 days.
Jesus Christ. She's going to get old enough to listen to this show and be very mad at us.
Look, as I've talked about this on the show before. So, Nick, I have a couple comedy bands, and one of them does like hip hop songs about video games, and they are gross. Some of them. And so I have a little Nintendo fan, and there is some sweet spot where she's too young to like really roll with it, but old enough to find it and hear it, where she's going to hear these songs and be like, Daddy, what did you do to Kirby? It's going, it's like, it's closer than I think. I think we're less than a year away at this point. It always reminds me of, there's this one How I Met Your Mother episode where there's like a countdown to Marshall's dad dying, and you don't know what is going on. Like there's this mysterious countdown happening throughout this whole episode, and suddenly it hits 0 and he gets this terrible news. And so in my mind, there's this countdown clock going in the back to when she hears this for the first time.
When she listens to It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Take This.
Well, it's the Kirby's Adventures in Reamland, which is maybe the worst thing I've ever written. Then that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's the scary one.
Well, look, speaking of 10-year-old profane song parodies, I did this bit on the Comedy Bang Bang podcast, a Monster Mash parody called The Monster Fuck.
Oh, dude, I am a huge fan of the Monster Fuck. I love
We were going to bring this
fuck.
up because we both love it.
God bless you for saying that. You know what? I was on the picket line today for the Writers Guild is on strike, and I was on the picket line, and like 3 guys were like, "Are you a monster fuck guy?" I was like, "Man, this is my legacy." This like bit I kind of like threw together quickly, and then Ackerman was just like, "Come back and do it again next year." I was like, "All right," and this is like what I'm known for. And yeah, I have young nephews and nieces. Like, are they gonna stumble upon that at some point? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
How easy is it to, because you're doing a character, right? Who's doing that? Yeah. So can they just look you up and then find Monster Fuck right away? Or is there like a couple other steps in between?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it might honestly be the autocomplete if you type in Nick Weiger. It might just say Nick Weiger Monster Fuck.
That's pretty great. Well, I mean, also, I don't think you're doing yourself any favors by coming back so frequently and doing the exact same song, right? Year after. How many times have you done it now? 8, 9, something like that?
I think it's been 8. I have to look it up every year I do it.
It doesn't stop being funny, Nick.
It really
Thank you
doesn't,
so
dude.
much. So my friend Caroline Anderson, who I always do the bit with, and we wrote a piece together for the Comedy Bang Bang book about that character, Leo Carpazzi. And I've had this happen more than one year where I was like, okay, I think I've got a new angle for it. And I tell her what I'm going to do. And she's like, you did that in like 2017. I was like, wait, really?
What I've always been curious about, and obviously the bit is awesome as it is, but just personally, have you heard the Monster Mash follow-ups, the Monster Rap, the Climate Mash,
the Monster
things, right?
Swim is
the
a
Monster
favorite
Swim.
for me.
Yeah.
I love all of those. I also love all of Chubby Checker's Twist follow-ups.
Yes.
Like Twist Again was legitimately a hit.
Right. That's right.
But then he's got like Twisting Off a Cliff. He's got so many Twist songs. I want to look him up now, but he did like a whole Twist concept album after the Twist hit.
That's amazing. I heard Let's Twist Again before I heard the Twist, just because of, you know, the vagaries of age and whatever I was listening to at the time. So I have a very clear memory of being, I don't know, 8, 10, something like that, and hearing Let's Twist Again and being like, what was this referring to? And then, you know, my parents, who were whatever, teenagers in the 50s or something, were like, you don't fucking know the Twist, dude? What's going on? You know, I got to look up the names of these Twist follow-ups.
Here's his album, Twistin' Round the World. And also that was a cover. That's the other thing. I'm just like, that's not a Chubby Checker original.
Right. Oh, he did Twist and Shout. That's good to know.
Twisted Matilda?
The Mexican Hat Twist was one of his.
Oh, my God. It's amazing. These guys who, they dial something in, it's a massive hit.
Yeah.
You know, and you cannot blame them. And it, certainly in one respect, it's fucking awesome, where they just go all in with this
100%.
one thing.
Totally admire it. It's like pro wrestling, someone just leaning into their gimmick fully.
Yeah, totally.
Radiohead does not get disillusioned by fame after Pablo Honey, and OK Computer is just all of the songs or variations on Creep.
Yeah, let's creep again. Yeah.
That was a great clip. I totally remember the clip that we were just talking about.
You introduced it like you did.
No, I remember what the clip was. I'm just saying that there was an interlude there where we were saying other things that got edited out.
Well, I like that clip. There's a very funny man in it.
There's a very
I
terrible
thought,
man in that clip.
Yeah.
Who I found boorish and just really indecent is the word that I would use.
I would say not indecent, but chiseled.
Ill-mannered. Like an unruly rodent.
Okay.
And by rodent, I mean like a ferret or some other
Or a
like.
capybara. Yeah.
Does a capybara count as a rodent?
Yeah, it's the largest rodent.
Well, you wouldn't be the largest one. You would be like the
thank
shortest one.
Yeah. Well, can we say, you know, bless you, short king.
So true.
So true. So true indeed. Now, here's the question. Should we continue this? I feel like we have a lot for a...
I feel like that was 15 minutes of clip.
Oh, more. The Paul Gannon one by itself is like a 20-minute story, right?
All right, never mind. This is a perfect length of episode, and you're going to get more of this, like, fucking fantastic. Not only the amazing clips from this entire past year of the show, but also the top tier, this slant of light, this rarefied digital air in which I don't know what is going on with either of us, but we're suddenly magically good podcasters.
I think we are. It's there really is something in the air tonight. I can feel it coming on the air tonight.
Finger in the Sky, coming on the air.
Oh, that's a good NSP song title. Finger in the Sky. And it's like a ballad, a Ninja Brian ballad.
Oh,
That's
I
a really good
see
one.
the like very I don't know why I'm thinking of Supertramp Breakfast in America style, but I'm a
100%.
big middle finger that's like really beautifully rendered.
Yep.
Airbrushed.
Couldn't agree more. Great.
You went like full Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black on like the final syllable of that.
Wait, really?
Your man
Couldn't
suit
agree
is
more.
your man
Is
suit
that what
slipping.
you're talking about? Why did you come over here?
We'll see you on the next one.
That's a pretty good.
That
right?
was genuinely very good.
He's a
I'm
little.
impressed.
I feel like he's a little more hollow. Like his. No, that's not it. I'm a law and order criminal. More Vincent D'Onofrio. I used to be hot. That impression definitely got worse the more I did it.
But it got funnier the worse it got.
Yeah, well.
He
That's
has
life,
like
baby.
he's doing the like, I'm physically doing it, but you can't see me. He has like his chin like touching his fucking clavicle when he does that voice too, which I think adds something.
Yes. Did I tell you we showed that movie to Audrey and she loved it?
What?
Yeah.
Well,
she
yeah,
loved
because it's a
it.
fucking perfect movie.
You know what? I will admit, when I saw it in theaters, I was like, what is this derivative bullshit? I really didn't like it. And then watching it again, I don't know, a couple months ago, I was like, this is great.
It was a perfect fun movie. Was she
I love
scared
it. Nope.
by him?
Nope. And I
We'll
thought she
all
would be
be.
too. She really liked it. She's getting a lot braver with that stuff. And can I tell you the thing that I'm really excited about?
What?
She's starting to like spicy food, like Takis.
Oh my God.
And, I'm very excited for this.
I'm very happy for her and for you.
Yeah. Well, actually, can I tell you? When I was in Nashville last week with Jim Roach, I went to Prince's Hot Chicken, which is like one of the legendary hot chicken places from Nashville, and it was so fucking good. Oh my God. It was like, I've heard people, not the least of which is Mark Maron, talk about this for years.
I was about to say I only
Yep.
know this place because of the like 2 episodes of
I know,
WTF that I've listened
but it's
to.
so it totally lived up to the hype. It was so good. Actually, I
Wow.
burned the roof of my mouth from I got a breast, and I bit
Yeah?
right into that breast,
Nice.
and the breast juice squirted all over my mouth and scalded the roof of my mouth from the juice, the wet, hot juice in that breast.
I think somebody needs to get their breast implants looked at, because if that's what's going on, yeah. How much silicone did you ingest?
Well, let's see. I've had 3 gel packets today. They call them desiccants, but I call them sprinkles. What is happening with me right now?
I'm imagining you going to the store and like buying those little like pads that you use when you don't want to wear a bra but you need to cover up your nipples. They're just like little silicone like buds. Imagine just like grabbing a handful of them and then just like sucking them down, like slurping those little. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so good. Oh, more nipple coverings, please.
This has to stop. We'll see you fucking next week. Jesus
bye.
Christ.
Late Night is produced by Brian Weck, Leighton Gray, and Jarek Centeno. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.